to the premise of my own argument in question.
So I don't see it that way. I see it as there's two different theories here. Your theory is committed to, in every case where there's the actualization of a potential, there's something already actual that actualizes the potential. On my view, sometimes when you get actualization of a potential, when something goes from, say, from being actually blue to actually red, so that it previously had the potential to be red but wasn't yet, you need something to actualize the potential. But if it's actually red and it goes to being actually red, so it had the potential to be actually red, you don't need something that actualizes the potential. You get a simpler view, according to me, if you go that way. It's not question begging, it seems to me. It's just an alternative theory. And then we consider the merits of
I have a clarification question. So when you say that there's a chair at T0 that is red and it has potential to remain red at T1.
Yeah,
Ed,
to be red. Let's just say to be red at T1.
Okay. Ed, couldn't you say that the chair is what the chair itself is the actualizer of the potential at T1? So that seems consistent with your principle. Or with, yeah.
It's part of the story, but then I don't see why there's an actual disagreement with the claim my argument rests on, right? So the examples Graham gives are examples of things remaining unchanged. But since on my analysis of change, to be unchanged just means not to have a potential actualized, I don't think that it really counts as a counterexample. I think what he needs is a counterexample to the principle my argument rests on, what's premise 4 of my argument.
Well, so it almost sounds like you're saying that there is no potential at T1 for it to be red if it's already red at T0.
Well, there is a potential. I mean, there's a sense in which there's a potential of it to be red at T1. But as I noted earlier, when you think about it, that's not actually the claim that potential needs to be actualized is not actually as controversial as I think Graham thinks it is, because everyone would agree that, well, part of the story about why it remains red at T+1 is that it still has the same chemical structure. The surface still has the chemical structure as it did before. It had a different structure at T+1. It would no longer be red and so forth. In other words, we don't just say, well, that the chair itself remains in existence at T+1. We don't just say, well, things will remain unchanged unless something interferes with them. We do appeal to these other positive considerations. The fact that its redness is to be explained in part in terms of its chemical structure at T+1 and so on and so forth, in which case that's in agreement with my principle. It's not the principle that what goes from potential to actual requires an actualizer. It's not a